To this Grand Seiko Stunner about 11 minutes early, 10 and a half minutes early, so give a little bit of time for the wrench gang to get in the house. And let me find this video here on my videos on the iPad so I can keep an eye on your comments. There it is. 11 minutes early. There she blows. And Blue Shirt Buddha is already in the house, and he says he's first. Oh, I forgot to turn on the lights. And hello, and hello, hello, hello. I say hello. Let me just get the lights turned on here. Hey, Google, turn on living room lights.
Sure, turning on 2 lights.
Okay, there we go. Got the background lights keyed up. And we got an interesting, I think, an interesting discussion ahead of us on a couple of fronts. And let me get the... Let me go to Facebook here and get a comment up that I wanted to share also, because there was an interesting thread recently on Horology Talk, and it is absolutely very, very, very interesting. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about ugly lugs. It's on the subject matter. And a whole bunch of different things. So we'll give folks a couple of minutes to get in because we are early. We're going to start at 5 o'clock sharp. And I did release a video earlier on clothing, conservative clothing that will... survive the test of time, if you will, because I had a couple of subscribers send me some links to some articles about clothing and some so-called experts. And most of the clothing that they suggested I would pass on. I would absolutely pass on. The trendy stuff, you know, the real short suit coats or sport jackets and the real narrow lapels that are coming back now, like from the 60s, I would pretty much pass on all of that stuff. And I would get stuff that would have been in style 20 years ago and that would look still good today. This Brooks Brothers suit that I have on right now is about 25 years old. About 25 years old. And it... I think it still looks great. Classic pinstripe, classic lapels, nice fit, nice amount of material in it so that you feel comfortable. Not that real trim fit that they're doing these days where you can't even move. So, so that's the deal. Carlos is in the house. We're still a little bit early. We've got about coming up on 7 minutes until official show time, so we've got a little bit of a pre-show going on, giving some folks some time to get in, get the notifications and so forth. I don't know if all the notifications are going out properly or not, but if you take a look at that Grand Seiko Stunner, you can see that that second hand is just smoothing right around, just like it does. That's what it does, day in and day out. Spot on accurate. I'm looking at my laptop right now, right next to it, right next to this monitor, and it is pretty much right on the money, almost right on the second. I can't tell if it's a half a second fast or half a second slow. It seems like it's right on. So, of course, you guys are looking at it on a delay, so you guys can't really tell where you are. Oh, but I'll tell you what I can do. I can try to do a side-by-side here. Let me see here. Let me go to... Let's see, is it this one? Yeah, okay, that one. And let me go to... Here, okay. So I got side-by-side my computer screen. Oh, but it's cut off. I don't think you can see the time at the top. That's the problem. You can't see the time at the top. That's not helping any. Okay, so we'll cut off the side-by-side for now. Okay, so our Wags is in the house. Welcome, everybody, to the exclusive pre-show. We are in motion. There you go. Folks in motion in the pre-show. And the official show starts in just less than 5 minutes. Well, no, actually, it's coming up on 5 minutes, a little more than 5 minutes. You can see the time right there on the monitor. And so we're going to talk about a couple different subject matters. We're going to talk about ugly lugs, because Clive talked about it a little bit. And as usual, I think he overanalyzed a little bit. I think we can make the call that the lugs on the Maxi case sub are ugly. I don't think we have to beat around the bush. I think they missed the boat there. And I'm going to show you the red sub that I sold to my friend Paul Faupel as a comparison. And you're going to be able to see what the lugs were like on it and what the side of the case was like. The whole case, everything was nicer. Okay, and this isn't just because I'm an old guy. It just is. It just is what it is, and it is what it is. Drive carefully, blue shirt. If you're going home soon, blue shirt will probably be on the road. He's in motion. Everybody's in motion. All right, so let's see here. We got 5 minutes of showtime. So I also released a video about the clothing with a link in the description to all the photos. Because, like I say, I had some subscribers suggest a couple of channels and that I should take a look at that talk about clothing. Some of these guys are like experts on how to dress and all of this. And the one website, and I'm not going to say which one it was, but right on the home page of the website had all these male models wearing these coats, you know, the new style with the narrow lapel. And they're real short. They look like they're like a little boy's jacket that they don't even fit. And they fit real tight. And like the guy can't even hardly move in them. And so when I saw all of that on the homepage, I said, no, I don't need to dig any deeper into this. Turns out a lot of the stuff on there is made in China and everything else. So, yeah, no, it wouldn't be for me. It just would not be for me. And let's see here. Netherlands in the house. Peter. Great suit and tie, says Peter. Well, there you go. This is Brooks Brothers. This is an older Brooks Brothers suit. It was made in the United States of America. Some of their stuff now is not. So you need to be careful. You really do. You really need to be careful. Coming up on Showtime, and right at the top of the hour, right at Showtime, we're going to show that red sub. And we're going to show the lugs on it. And we're going to show some lugs on some Maxi case watches, and we'll see what you guys think. I think it's obvious. I think it's obvious that Rolex went down the wrong path with the Maxi case. And there are rumors, and that's what Clivers was talking about on his recent show about it. There are rumors that they're headed back the other way, and there are also some information about supply and about how the waiting lists might be drying up. And they might go away completely within the next couple of months. So there could be some shocking news in the Rolex world, and we're going to talk about that. What do you guys think? We're going to talk about that as well, because it's on topic. It's on topic. It has to do with the whole thing. The whole thing has to do with the whole thing. It's the whole ball of wax on this channel. That's what you get here. And if anybody wants to come in and join the fun, we might even Skype somebody in to join the fun. That's how we might do that. So we're almost at the top of the hour. We're on my laptop. It is 4:58:24. And I'm going to say 30 right there. So you guys tell me. I'm going to say, when it's on 40 seconds, I'm going to say it. And you see if the clock's on the same thing. Now, I think it was a little hair fast. I think the Grand Seiko Spring Drive is a hair fast, which is the way I like it. I like it a hair fast. I don't want to be late for appointments. Let's see. Blue Shirt Buddha is frustrating driving while listening to Craig because it seems like you want to make a comment and you can't, but it's entertaining our way. I'm at work, so I'll be cutting in and out. Turkey Vulture. Turkeys and Vultures in motion, making things happen. Are you referring to the Maxi case specifically, or just the new Rolex cases in general, Explorers, Datejust, etc.? We're going to talk specifically about the Maxi case on the sub first, and then we might dig into some of the other models as well, because some of them it's not as bad. Rolex Explorer 2 216570 42mm has perfect lugs. One day people will realize that it's the best Rolex stainless steel watch in the current range. There we go. I'll tell you what, I really like the Yacht Master though. All right, so we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about what watches have attractive lugs in the Rolex line, because there are many options, folks. We're coming right up on 5 o'clock, the official start time of the show. That's what we're doing. We're coming right on up here. 2, 1, and it is showtime. It is showtime. We're going to start out with the red sub. What do you guys think? This is a red sub that a friend of mine, I sold this to him in the early 80s, and it dates from the 70s. It's a red sub. So let me go ahead and play a little bit of this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play a little bit of it. Here you go. So it's Friday, October 19, day 1 of Steve's big watch event. The big day is tomorrow, Saturday, the second day of the event. Pay attention to those lugs. But I ran into a friend of mine, an old friend, Paul, who has a red sub that was made in the early 70s that I bought in the early 80s and then ended up selling to him. See the shape? Around 1983, 84. How they taper. And he still has the watch. How cool is that? And I interviewed him. He had the watch with him. Okay, I'm here at Little Treasury Jewelers, and I'm here with Paul. He didn't have gray hair when I sold that watch to him, and neither did I. That was a long time ago. So anyway, that's the red sub. And did you guys see how attractive those lugs were on that watch? Now I'm going to find a regular sub, a Maxi case sub. Rolex Maxi case. I'm searching and I'll find one here. I will find one here, folks. I will find one. Okay. Here's a side-by-side. Let's see. Okay, here's a side-by-side. Let's pull this photo up here. All right. So here we got a side-by-side. And you can see, you see the lugs here on this watch? You see how they kind of taper down and then blend into the bracelet? And you see how on the one with the Maxi case, how they're real bulbous and they come down and they don't taper at all into the, they don't even make an attempt to taper into the bracelet. They just go down and then right angle over. I mean, the first time I saw that, I said to myself, am I seeing things? I said to myself, how could they possibly do this? That's what I said to myself. What did you guys say? Red sub looks good, better than the square ones on the new reference. There you go. Van City Unicorn in the house making a comment right on topic. That's what we like. That's what we like to see. All right, let's see what else we can dig up here. Let's see what else we can dig up here. Here's another photo. That's not a very good photo. I won't even show it to you. I'm being picky on what I showed to you guys because you all are all that. And so I don't want you all to I don't want you all to see something that isn't helpful. Okay, here's an older one. And see that case? See the case? That is attractive. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That's an attractive lug on that case. Those lugs on that case are, in fact, attractive. So let's see. Let's see what else we can dig up here. Now, here's one on a leather strap. So see, you could even do that. And I even like the way that the crown guards are and everything. Everything about it is more curvaceous, more sensual, just more attractive. It's not just the lugs, it's the whole thing they kind of screwed up on. Let's see what else I can show here. What the heck is this? No, that doesn't, that's not very helpful. You know, it's amazing how few really good photos there are in the world. Okay, here's another one. Okay, now you see that, you see the shape of that case, and you see how it tapers down. Why did they have to change that? What were they thinking? What was the idea behind changing that? Okay? It is not rocket science here, folks. All right, now let's see. Let's try to find one that is the Maxi case. There's one that's a two-tone. Well, I can show that. I can show that. Not that great a picture, but you can see, you see how those lugs just go down and just square right over to the case? How it just looks bulbous. It just doesn't. I don't know, folks. It's just exhausting. It's just exhausting. Now, the Pepsi, and we've talked about this before, the Pepsi kind of has a Maxi case, but it to me, it looks a little bit softer. It doesn't look quite as bulbous, the lugs on that. And it looks like, to me, like it tapers down a little more. You guys study that and let me know what you think. Do you think that that is a little bit softer as far as the case there, the lugs, and looks a little bit more attractive than your typical bulbous Maxi case? Let me know what you think about that, because I'm on the fence on that one. I'm on the fence on that one. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's go back to another vintage sub. Yeah, that's not a very good picture. I'm not even going to show that one to you. It's not very good. Let's see what else we got going on here. We're just kind of cruising through here and trying to make a point. Not that many good pictures, folks. Well, while we're talking about other options, let's pull this up. Let's pull up a turnograph. Look at that. Look at the lugs on that, folks. Look at the lugs on that. Okay, let's see. We got some comments here. I love how those markers are turning a custard color on that red sub. Well, there you go. I like the bracelet and clasp on the sub, but I don't like the lugs. Maybe it's an age thing. And another thing is the date loop that is proportional too big. Yeah, I agree. I'd rather have a no-date sub if I had the choice between the two. Ernie, I wish I had any lugs Rolex. Maxi case makes the watch look chunky. Andrew in the house. I prefer the Maxi lugs because I'm 6'2" and 320 pounds. Colin Scott's in the house. Well, I say get yourself one of these stunners. Get yourself that 44 mil stunner there and put that on your wrist. You got a big wrist. Put a stunner like that on there. That's what I say. The Pepsi lugs are slimmer than the subs for sure. You can see how the lugs buttress from the 9 o'clock position less on the Pepsi. Yeah, I think you're right, Brian. I think you're right. Definitely lug softer look on the Pepsi. Our wags. We are in agreement, I think, on that one. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on. Here's a good picture showing the Maxi, showing the Maxi case. Differences. Let's see, let's go here. That's more trim lugs there. That's the more trim lugs. And see, they look a little bit longer. I don't know if it's an optical illusion just because they're thinner, but they also look a little bit longer. And the whole case just looks better with the trimmer, with the more trim lugs. if you ask me. So, okay, so we got that discussion kind of out of the way, but we'll come back to it because we're going to come back with some options that that might be interesting to people. So, oh, here's a neat comparison. Here's two GMTs. Here's a Maxi GMT and a non-Maxi. Maxi, of course, is on the right. And I do like the markers in the hands being bigger, because for me it'd be better readability, right? But the lugs I definitely like on the unit on the left. The lugs, no doubt, I like the unit on the left. Okay, the Daytona has the most beautiful case lug design. And see, that's why we also like the Yacht Master, because it has that same case pretty much. And we're going to talk about the Yacht Master here in a minute. Let's see. The idea behind the bigger lugs is obvious. They wanted to make the whole watch look bigger without changing the diameter of 40 millimeter. I think the best looking modern steel sports is the Explorer 1. There you go. Well, whatever their reasoning behind it, and again, it's just speculation to reason behind it, but they missed. It was a swing and a miss. They whiffed on this one. They failed because it doesn't even look bigger either. It just looks uglier. The turnograph looks nice. The real eyesore is when you take the Maxi case sub off bracelet on a leather strap. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but it's ugly either way, really. Think you made an excellent point. Okay. I think the Daytona has the most beautiful case lug design. Okay, we just said that. Are you right? The Explorer has perfect lugs. Most legible dial award goes to the 214270. Datejust 41 has a beautiful case too. Well, there you go. Absolutely. The Datejust is the flat sides of the lugs are unsightly. Yeah, exactly. It's the sides also. They kind of screwed the whole thing up. Okay, so let's go to alternatives. First of all, we've already talked about this watch. This is the Grand Seiko GMT, the new model out. That's also very thin. Now, this is the 9F quartz movement, which I wasn't a quartz guy until I really started learning about the 9F, and this thing is pretty amazing. It is a pretty amazing watch, and look how beautiful those lugs are on that. And look at the case design. Look how beautiful that is. So we'll be talking more about that in the future, because that's a relatively new model, and we'll be talking about that. So, oh, did I not show that? I don't know if I showed it. Okay, there you go. There's the Grand Seiko. So, Yacht Master 2. I'm not a fan of the Yacht Master 2. I think that's too big, and I don't need all the complication. I would rather have the regular Yacht Master. And we are going to talk about the regular Yacht Master as well. Okay, so my issue with the Daytona is that Rolex turned the sub-dials into railroad track chapter rings, making them more difficult to read. The Daytona would not be a watch for me because I don't need all that complication, and it would just make the watch harder to read. Okay, so let's do that. Let's look at the alternatives now. Let's look at the Yacht Master. The Yacht Master. I really like the Yacht Master. Oh, I really like the Yacht Master. Going to the Rolex website now. Okay. And let's see here. Oh, they got the Yacht Master 2. Let's see if I can easily find the Yacht Master 1. All right, let's get off of this site. This isn't helping us any. Let's go to Chrono 24. Let's go to Chrono 24 and take a look. Who's in motion today? A lot of folks look like they're in motion today. Brian's on elliptical. Okay, so let's go here. And let's go to my notepad on Chrono 24. And I'm going to have to uncheck some of these watches because obviously they're not available anymore. So that one's not available. So Here's a Rolex DATEJUST 41 with a blue dial on the Jubilee. See, that would be an alternative. That would be an alternative. Now, here's a Yacht Master that is sold, so we'll take that off my watch list here. And here's a Yacht Master that's still available with the blue dial. And so let's take another look at this. We've talked about this watch numerous times on the channel. To me, that is the watch to buy instead of a sub. Simple as that. I love the platinum bezel. I mean, it's robust. It's going to hold up. It's really cool looking. It looks even better than in a video than in this picture. This isn't that great a picture. Let's go back and see if we can find some better pictures of this watch. Okay, that one's sold. Let's take that off my list. There's one that's got the steel and gold going on for it, which I like to add as well, but I'd rather have, I think I would rather have the platinum bezel, this one here. Okay, so that's a pretty good shot of it. Look, look the lugs, see the shape, even the side of the case, it's more rounded. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a closer look. I'm telling you right now that this watch is a 10 times better looking watch than the Maxi case sub. They don't really have a side view of it though, but that is pretty freaking cool. Let's see. Craig, did you see the John Mayer interview? No, I talking watches. See the guy with all the tattoos and stuff? I think I skipped it, but I don't think I watched that one. John Mayer called the Aquanaut. He was wearing the Converse Chuck Taylor. Okay. I got mine for $13,250 Canadian from an AD. Which one? Which one did you get? Craig, on the other hand, is something like a 34 millimeter Air King too small? It depends on the size of your wrist. If you have a small wrist, I think it would be fine. I'd probably go with a 36 mil something, but a 34 mil Air King is not bad. I've seen people wearing those, and it's not bad at all. Depends on the size of your wrist, really, I think. And there's some amazing watches. That's the best Yacht Master, in my honest opinion. Turkey Vulture, stunning. I love the rhodium dial Yacht Master, but the blue dial and red secondhand steels. I hear you. They're both really nice. It's almost a coin toss. It's almost a coin toss. Which one to go with? Let's go back and see what else I got on my list here. This one was sold, so let's get that off the list. It's a date 8. Here's an 18238 that's still there, still available. So these things are not flying out the window. You notice some of these have been sold, but these have been on my list for weeks. Let's see here. And there's the Turnograph. Again, that's a competitive option. Here's a couple of them. Here's one with a Jubilee, and then here's one with an Oyster. That is a definite competitive option to a sub. If you want the rotating bezel to use to time things and stuff like that, if you find it to be convenient. But this is an attractive watch. And depending on the year, that might have the solid links. I can't tell. It looks like that's a stamped clasp, so it's probably not, doesn't have the solid links if it's got the stamped clasp. Depends on the year of these as far as what they have, what they don't have. Yeah. Oh, no, that's the newer clasp, see? So that's going to have the solid center links, I believe, on the Jubilee. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. So that would be a competitive option to the ugly lug situation, folks. That would absolutely be a competitive option. Now this one is sold, so let's take that one out of the running. There's a Patek Philippe Calatrava. Now see if you want to get something with attractive lugs, folks. If you want to get away from the ugly lug syndrome, you get yourself a Calatrava. See those lugs? Yeah. How come they don't put more photos, some side photos, some close-ups of the... I mean, yeah, come on. Why do people have to be so lazy sometimes? Okay, let's see what we got here. Blue Dial Yacht Master 40 millimeter Jarvis in the house. A close friend wears daily a yellow gold Yacht Master. Really nice. Looks great. It should be like 15 years old. So it's an all gold, yellow gold. Yeah, they are stunning. Somebody posted one on one of the forums, I think today, a picture of one, and I commented that it was stunning. You can get a 6-digit turnograph with the same blue dial and red second hand wave as the Yacht Master. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Brian. How do you like the two tones? I'm not as big a fan of the two-tone, but I would not. I wouldn't totally rule it out. Like that turnograph we just looked at. I mean, that's a nice watch. I wouldn't rule it out, especially if you can get a good buy on it. And we're going to talk about getting good buys here in a minute. That's the next subject, is the impending sell-off of Rolex sport watches. Hey, Craig, all is revealed why Rolex introduced their Maxi case in a video I did a few days ago. ID guy in the house. I can send over the link. Yeah, send it. I'll put it in the description of this video. But, you know, and Clive was speculating about it on his video the other day. There's been a lot of speculation about it, but be interesting to see what you have to say. ID guy in the house. Andrew, I've seen a turnograph with a green dial. Very nice. That's interesting. Chrono 24 limits the number of free photos to 4. Extra photos will cost you more. Yeah, okay. I see a lot of them don't even put 4 in there. A lot of them put just 1 or 2. They're lazy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at this comment on Horology Talk, okay? And this is pretty good. And I'll read it to you. My friends who were in Rolex waiting list got calls from their AD in the last 2 weeks that their pieces have arrived and are ready for collection. One had put his name for a Pepsi only 5 months ago. One Batman has arrived as well, but it's the new one with the Jubilee. So he's getting a new Batman, right? Not the old one which he paid a deposit for a year ago. One got his Daytona steel after 2 years. I called Rolex and their couple of ADs. So I guess he called a couple of ADs. And they say now the waiting list is for 3 to 4 months for most, and eventually going to end soon. So he's acting like they're going to start supplying enough watches and the waiting list is just going to evaporate. This is stunning news, folks, for those of you that are investing in Rolexes and that are stockpiling them, thinking they're going to go up in value, and those of you that are speculating, you know, buying any sport watch Rolex you can get, any professional watch you can get to resell. This is interesting news. Some people might be caught holding the bag. I believe that Rolex is going to start full supply of their watches in their boutiques and ATs in the very near future. Waiting list scenario is going to end for good. No need to pay premium for subs and GMTs. It looks like they have finally found the lost Chinese guy who used to supply them multicolored dials and bezel inserts. Okay, so I don't know if this guy's trolling or whatever, but I've heard some similar information from other sources. Now, there's a bunch of comments on this. Can confirm. David says he's the Chinese guy. Let's see here. You guys can see the comments on the screen. You guys can go and look at this. But I do think their limited supply has hurt the brand. I think it has for sure. I think it's definitely helped Steve sell some watches because people have turned to Grand Seiko because they couldn't get the Rolex they wanted. I mean, he's actually told me that's happened on numerous occasions. It's only benefited gray market, blah, blah, blah. And the comment that I put in here, where's my comment? There's been a lot of comments on this. Oh, this guy says, excellent. Maybe it will teach a lesson to those guys buying the pieces just to make a quick buck. Yeah, I think some people might get caught holding the bag. Here's my comment. If this is true, a lot of speculators and investors, end quote, will soon be panic selling. A buyer's market could be just around the corner. Well, as you folks know, and this guy says just trolling, I've been predicting that this speculator's market, it could be a real problem for some people. Could really end badly for some people with 5 or 6 of these watches that they were planning on selling for big money. To me, sounds rare that new Batman Jubilees are already coming. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if this is true, or if this guy's just trolling. But like I say, I have heard from other sources that similar things are starting to happen. So it's not totally beyond reason that this might be true, or something close to it might be true. Interesting thing, interesting times ahead. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, I've had some people ask me some more questions about Bitcoin, and I referred them back to the video that I did the other day. Some people were asking me about buying Bitcoin on Coinbase, and should they buy it on Coinbase or Coinbase Pro? And I said, listen, I talked about all this. You set up the account with Coinbase, and then you automatically get a Coinbase Pro account. It's all the same company. Then I use Coinbase Pro to add my money from my bank. I've connected it to my bank account, and I can add money from my bank account over to Coinbase Pro. And it takes about 5 days for the money to get there. And then you buy your Bitcoin. So then this one guy says, well, how can you trade if it's 5 days and all that? I said, first of all, I don't trade. I buy, and then I hold. I don't sell. I buy and I hold. I sold some in late November 2017. I haven't sold since then, and I don't plan on selling anymore until at least 2028. 2028 is my plan. And I'll probably hold beyond that, because guess what? You can also make money off your Bitcoin without selling it. There are already websites now that give you interest if you deposit your Bitcoin with them. And there's going to be more of that sort of thing coming along. Now, you got to be careful about giving up your private keys and giving up custody of your Bitcoin to some third party. Obviously, you got to be careful. But there are going to be ways to make money off Bitcoin without selling it, like any asset that you might have. Clear, that's a Caesar. That's a nice watch, often overlooked by the steel sports fanatics. Which watch? I don't see which watch he was talking about. Picking up my white ceramic Daytona from AD tomorrow. Woo, okay. Give us some information. Don't just leave us hanging. How long has it been on order? Which AD are you getting it from? Are you going to be willing to come on the channel, come on the show here and show it? Come in via Skype and show the watch once you get it? Give us some information. DA Machine 3 in the house picking up a Daytona. Got the call yesterday. So how long were you waiting? Let us know. 3 months? You were only waiting 3 months? See, this is real-time information, folks. He was only waiting 3 months for a Daytona. Are you kidding me? The 116000 blue, Turkey Vulture. Could see watches like Explorer 2 going for $3K in 6 months. Robert V. I'll tell you, you might see subs. You might see a Maxi case sub going for that kind of money. Back in the day, let me tell you what was typical back in the day. Back in the day, a steel Rolex, routinely, you could get a 20% discount from an AD. If you negotiate, if you had cash, you know, if you knew how to negotiate. You could get 20% off from an AD. Now, this is any steel Rolex. Didn't make any difference whether it was a sub or Datejust. They were all the same back then. Even a Daytona, the same thing, right? They usually didn't have that many Daytonas because they weren't popular. Nobody wanted a Daytona back in the day. So a gold Rolex, you could get 35 to 40% off. No problem from an AD. Okay, this is new. Now, once you bought that Rolex, and let's say you had it for 5 years, typically a gold Rolex would be worth about half of list after 5 years if it was in real good shape. So let's say you paid $10,000 for it, list price. Now, of course, you got a discount off of that, right? But we're going from the list price. It would be worth about half of the list price if it was still in real good shape 5 years later. Okay, are you with me? Now, the steel watch 5 years later would be worth about 60% or so. Okay, maybe even 70%, anywhere from 60 to 70% or so of list when it was new. Not the current list, because the lists always have gone up, right? That was kind of the rule of thumb back in the day. And my guess is we're going to return to that time frame, to where it's going to be like that again. I think it's going to come back. And people that were saying that it's never going to happen, that's never going to come back, and so on and so forth, trust me, it was like that for a longer period of time than it's been the way it is now with the waiting lists and all that. This is a relatively rare phenomenon for all these waiting lists and all this stuff as far as the overall scheme of things. If you look at the last 60 years of Rolex pricing history, and I can only give you firsthand knowledge of the last 40 years because I've only been buying Rolexes for 40 years. But I can tell you of those 40 years, 30 of those years, it was the way I just told you. And maybe the last 10 years or less, it's been this waiting list thing and all this. And so it's an anomaly that we have the current situation. This is not normal. So, let's see. Okay. Did you have purchasing history? Wait lists mean very little. Only one Datejust. He only bought one Datejust. 11 hard to get sports since May. You have a kick-ass collection, man, and I know that you are beyond waiting lists. Okay, I'll post it. I'll post about it soon. Okay. Why don't you tell him you have bought 10 plus Rolexes from the same AD on vacation? Yeah, but he's saying he's buying mainly sport watches. He's not buying, you know, normally ADs give you a lot of favor if you'll buy like a gold watch and then, okay, we'll let you get a Daytona. But he's acting like he's only buying the popular ones, which is interesting information. Let's see. I waited less than 2 months, 9 months ago, but they had a lot of people less than 2 months, 9 months ago. Is this, for, Carlos, for your Daytona you're talking about? Yeah, I think a lot of games have been played with the waiting lists anyway. All along, I think the waiting lists have been kind of like almost like a scam where they, you know, if they know you or you're a friend of somebody's or whatever, you know, you get the watch, and the people on the waiting list are just screwed. Only reason I waited 3 months is because that's how long it took for one to hit the AD. Same happened to me, I think. Okay. I like the way you think. Total Rolex bubble. Well, we'll see. Time will tell the story here. Date just for my wife, and she wanted it, so all's good. Date just is, hey, your wife's got a beautiful watch. She's a lucky young lady. The 36 millimeter blue Oyster Perpetual 11600, aka the Blue Explorer. Greetings from Bogota, Colombia, Craig. Oh, that's a cool watch. That's a really cool watch. Yeah, only sports except the one Datejust. I got you, DA Machine. You got to show your collection sometime. You got to Skype into the show and show us your watches. I made a video about the modern Rolex bubble today and compared it against Tulip Mania during the 1600s. Such a fun clip to make. I'll have to take a look at that. By the way, the Tulip Mania thing is very exaggerated, and there's a lot of false information about that whole thing and how that all went down and all that. It's kind of a scam. So there's that. True story, which I can explain. Okay. They're betting on me up front because they got to know me. There you go. Craig, do you rate the Breitling Aerospace as an accurate tool/beater watch secondary market purchase? I'm not real familiar with Breitling watches. I've never owned one. I couldn't really comment on how good they are and how durable they are and things like that. So I kind of would pass on giving you an evaluation on that. I think you need to talk to somebody that really is familiar with those watches. I wouldn't buy one personally, but that's just because I don't buy, I'd either buy Rolex, Grand Seiko, maybe Omega, but usually probably Rolex and Grand Seiko would probably be the two brands that I would look at, because I think Rolex is just a fantastic brand from a standpoint of durability and classic designs and so on and so forth. Of course, I would skip the Maxi case, but we've already talked about the ones that are gorgeous still. Like the Datejust, all the ones that are still gorgeous. The Day-Date, for example. I mean, how can you beat a Day-Date? It's almost impossible to beat a Day-Date, right? So they just have some iconic watches. But then there's Grand Seiko, and they just have some just stunning watches that are just amazing. I mean, I just can't think of another word. I mean, look at that watch on the screen right now. I mean, it is just freaking amazing just to watch that second hand just smooth around, and to wear that watch, the titanium, it's so comfortable on wrist. They're just making some outrageous, really cool watches. So, and it's a brand that I trust that their quality is there, and it's a brand that I trust that if I ever do have to have it serviced, I can have that done. Same thing with Rolex. I've never had any bad experiences with having Rolex service a watch. I've only had a couple of them serviced in 40 years, but they've always done a great job. So I stick to just a couple of brands. So I'm not a good guy to ask about other brands. Let's see. ID guy, you're a legend at Ryan P. Your comments are sublime. Discussion is everything about this hobby. There you go. I picked up the black GMT the week before it was discontinued. I have a few videos to post. Okay. Let's see here. The only Rolex sports to get reasonable fast in my country is Explorer 1. Myself, I doubt between an Explorer 1 and a Snowflake. Now, Snowflake is an amazing watch. I mean, if it was between an Explorer 1 and a Snowflake, that's a hard decision to make. That really is. They're both fantastic pieces. If you want real accuracy, I mean, just insane accuracy, go with the Snowflake. And if you like that smooth second hand, absolutely go with the Snowflake. Craig, what's wrong with Omega? No, I found an Omega. I said Omega was like the third one in there. Rolex, Grand Seiko, Omega. Omega has some watches that I like. Some of them are too thick. A lot of them are a little on the thick side. You know, like Tim said the other day in one of his videos, they need to go on a reduction plan. They need to get thinner. And I like the fact that Grand Seiko is trying to get thinner with some of their watches. A lot of these watches have gotten too thick. That's the other good thing about some of these Rolexes, like the Yacht Master, for example, is pretty thin. Okay, the Yacht Master 1, not 2. Pretty thin watch. So it's going to work. It could work as an all-arounder. You could get it under the cuff, like I've got this Apple Watch under my cuff right now. See, it's a very thin watch. Sometimes I have to wear a very thin watch. So that's where Omega is kind of like letting me down these days. I did have an Omega Seamaster 120 that was a quartz also, and it was pretty thin, and I could wear it with a suit. So, you know, everyone has a different use case. Peter, Snowflake for sure. Yeah, and if you want a Snowflake, talk to Steve. Talk to my buddy Steve. He'll work a deal with you. $37mm Yacht Master 18-karat gold is my everyday watch. Now I'm going to get a GS for my dress watch. Wow, that 37mm Yacht Master in 18 is excellent. That is thin enough to wear as a dress watch, correct? Are you getting one of the newer GS dress watches, the ones that are like 9mm thick? That's awesome. Let me know which one you're getting. If you're getting one of those thin ones they just came out with, the manual wind ones, those are freaking cool. Especially the ones with the power reserve on the back. Oh my gosh, those are killer. And don't get me started on the platinum one, the $75,000 one. Jeez. Let's see. I've had an aerospace. They're great for travel, especially the titanium ones. I just got bored with it really quick. The anti-reflective coating on the crystal does wear off annoyingly fast. Yeah, it's good to have that anti-reflective coating on the inside, I think. Thanks for your input. The SBGN 005 GS Quartz new for 2019 is nice. Yeah, absolutely. Now, the blue one, which one is the 005? I get confused which is which. See, I like the blue one. I like this one here. Is that the 005? I'm confused on the numbering on them. But yeah, those are all awesome. Even the one with the black dial is awesome, but I would go with the blue. Talk about a beater watch. That watch, those will take abuse. That 9F movement is extremely robust. So, yeah, and you'll never have to service that thing. I like the Explorer and the Oyster Perpetual Black. Oh, I hear you. Both good options. I pay cash, and they also sell Grand Seiko in the house. Absolutely. Two-tone Tudor chronograph just released. I got a Rolex Explorer 42 as my daily watch. I wouldn't get if you got a Rolex, I'd pass on the Tudor, Mr. Blonde. Yeah, I'd pass on the Tudor. Wear that Rolex. Don't put money on a Tudor, please. Anyone else thought that the new Seiko Prospect LX Spring Drive Diver was a showstopper Baselworld this year? What a stunning looking watch. Yeah, I want to see more. And Steve, it doesn't have a lot of information on him right now, but as soon as he has more information and has some in stock, he's going to come on the channel and talk about those because, yeah, it's very interesting information. My issue with the Snowflake is that it's a bit too large, wearing to be a dress watch for my... I agree with you. That's why I sold mine. I prefer to stay in the 36 to 40 millimeter range. I agree with you. Now, this watch here, I think, is 39 mils, and it's super thin. It's about 12 mils thick. So I think this one might be might work. It's a couple mils smaller than the Snowflake, but it's thinner than the Snowflake as well, so that could be an option. We'll keep you posted on all that. Let's see here. An IWC Mark 17, Mark 18. It's thin, with very legible, with some gorgeous style options. You may like it, Craig. Well, there you go. Blew my mind. Turkey Vulture. I've got to get one in my hands, and I agree. If they had to drop the price by 1K or 2, they might just an edge more competitive. I've had a vintage Seamaster, which is less than 36 millimeters, and it wears great. Not like a lady's watch. Yeah, it depends on the watch. The Seiko SLA 017 from a few years back is real nice. Yes, I'm gonna get new GS spring drive. I sold my Patek because of it. Which one are you gonna get? And by the way, you might want to give Steve a shot at doing a deal with you. He's a deal maker, so definitely shop him if you're, shopping around. My buddy Steve at Little Treasury Jewelers, he's in motion. He's making deals. Let me know which one, Syed, is it Syed, S-Y-I-D? I don't know how to pronounce that, but let me know which one you're looking at. You got me thinking that a good quartz isn't any lesser than an automatic. The dial and the case are what make the watch right. Well, here's the thing. The 9F is just a super well-made. If you read up about it and watch some of the videos about the 9F, the Seiko, Grand Seiko 9F quartz, it really is a horse of a different color. It's an amazing piece of kit. And so I wouldn't lump it into the same category as most quartz watches. I really wouldn't. It's amazing. And I've owned one. I did sell it. The 18 karat gold stunner that I had a 9F in it. But I'm seriously thinking about this one right here. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about that as my all-around, to be able to wear as a dress watch and sport watch, and just be able to wear for everything and just beat the hell out of it and not worry about it. I mean, that is definitely something I'm thinking about. I'll keep you posted on that. I always do. I always keep you guys posted. Craig, is the spring drive in the snow just as robust as the Rolex Explorer? Yes. Yes, it's a durable movement. I don't think you're going to have any problem with that. Either one is going to be very durable. And the way the screw-down crown works on the Snowflake, it's very solid. I mean, it feels more solid than a Rolex screw-down crown. I mean, it's amazing. They're very well made. They're no joke. I am thinking SBGA 403 or SBGC 231. I know those aren't Craig's style. SBGA 403. Let's look at that. Oh, those ones with the... Yeah. I mean, you got to like them or hate them. I mean, to me, no, I wouldn't go that way. But, I mean, obviously to each their own. They're a striking watch. I mean, they do jump right out at you and say, hey, here I am. But I don't think for me. Now, let's see what the SBGC 231, let's see what that is. SBGC 231, let's see what we got here. Is it a is that a chronograph? Let's see. SBGC 231. See if I can get it here. Oh, okay, that's the chronograph of the same watch. Okay, I got you. Yeah, okay. I'm with you. Steve has them both coming in, by the way. If you want one, talk to him. Let's see. I can see that in vintage. It was an era of non-garish, more classy than current trends. Love the GS GMT, but it's too similar to my Explorer 2. Different color, though. Great shade of blue. What makes me a mechanical fan, appreciative of the 9F, is the engineering that goes into that movement. Most Swiss quartz watches feel begrudgingly made. Yeah, I agree. It's no joke the way they build that 9F and what goes into it, and the end result is no joke. The way that it's sealed and separated from the battery compartment so that when you replace the battery, you don't get dust in the movement and stuff. Just all these little details that they thought about when they were building it. And the fact that it's been around as long as it has, and they haven't really had to change it much, tells you it was a hell of a design. So yeah, it's an impressive design. It's an impressive piece of kit. The new GS GMT has an amazing dial, in my honest opinion. You're talking about the one I just showed? This one? Yeah. Yeah. There's the black dial version. There's the one that was the limited edition. It's a nice looking watch, but I like the blue dial. I prefer the blue dial. But you can see how nice the lugs are and how nice the case shape is on that. And like I say, it's nice and thin so that you can wear it in any kind of a situation. It's very intriguing. And it's affordable. It's an affordable watch, too, which that's a good plus to have that. I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon. I'm getting hungry, folks. Jay Sykes, there are other GS GMTs that are totally unique. Yeah, they've got some spring drive ones. They've got some regular automatic ones. I mean, there's a bunch of GMTs they have. Same with the SBGA 403. I would have liked to see Seiko reissue the 18-karat gold 1969 quartz Astron with the 9F movement at Baselworth. Yeah. I think they should come out with more solid 18-karat gold 9F movement watches. That one I had, I really liked. I'm now kind of wishing I probably shouldn't have sold it, but oh well. Sometimes you got to move on, and the subscriber that bought it is very happy. I don't mind selling one of my watches to a subscriber. I'd sell that one to a subscriber if they would want it and appreciate it and so on. I like my subscribers, okay? That's the way it goes. Let's see what else we got here. I stick with mechanical. I become a classic about some things. To give an idea, I order my business cards to be made in linotype in New York. I hear you, Carlos. I always had engraved business cards, and I always used like engraved invitations for parties and things like that. Yeah, that's going way back to the day. I hear you. Well, I mean, I'm wearing a vintage Brooks Brothers suit, and the only reason it's vintage is, I mean, I bought it new, but the only reason it's vintage is because I'm so damn old. So that's how that works. You get old enough, all the stuff you own becomes vintage. Scary stuff, folks. Time waits for nobody. Let's see here. I'm going to get a SBGY002. I'm in Tokyo, so it's easier for me to get. I'm going to see the watch tomorrow. Okay, take a look at it. And like I say, Steve might even be willing to beat their price and ship it to you. Just talk to him. That's all I'm saying. LittleTreasury.com. Steve's a good man. Let's see. Any thoughts on SBGM 021 or SBGR 061? Really interested in getting one of those. Let's look them up. Let's see here. SBGM 021. That's going to be the previous that's going to be the older dial, correct? Yeah, that's going to have Seiko at the top. Yeah. Yeah, that's a gorgeous watch. Personally, I would buy the 221. I like the newer dial configuration, personally, but that's gorgeous. I mean, there's no real downside to that. And let's see, the SBGR 061 is the other one you asked about. SBGR 061. Trying to find a good picture of it. That's an automatic, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's an attractive watch. No getting around it. Like I say, I prefer the newer dial, but some people like the older dial. It's in what you like. Let's see here. Got to run, thanks. That's DA Machine. I'd like to see someone mod a Rolex Maxi case to cut off those fat lugs down to the old profile. I hear you, Jay. Thoughts on Oris Aquas? It'd be funny, Jay, if somebody started a business doing that, and if like it turned out to be a big demand for it. That would be funny. Thoughts on the Oris Aquas? We looked at some Oris watches the other day, and the Oris has some really cool stuff. I mean, some good-looking stuff. You got to come to Steve's party, his next party, and take a look at all the stuff he's got. By the way, he said any of my subscribers that want to come to his next party, just email him, steve@littletreasury.com, steve@littletreasury.com, and he'll make sure you get an invitation. And trust me, his parties are worth coming to. That's all I'm going to say. The new 9F GS quartz models are a great size at 39 mil. Even though many say the case is an Explorer 2 homage, the accuracy and being able to set the hour hand independently is a win for me. I hear you, Ron. Absolutely. Everything's a homage to something. The Rolex Explorer wasn't the original dive. I mean, the Rolex Submariner wasn't the original dive watch, right? There were others before him, before that. I mean, everything's a homage to something. So that's the deal on that, and it's different enough, the case and everything. I mean, you would never mistake it for an Explorer. At least I wouldn't. I don't think any watch person would. And non-watch people don't give a rat's rear end about any of this stuff, to tell you the truth. What about the IWC time zoner? I have to take a look at some of these watches. I want Seiko to reissue the Pogo. Okay, there you go. Would love you to do a video on the discussion to use German finger hands on a tribute to an English plane from a design perspective. I love the hands personally. Okay. Well, you should come on the show and talk about it. Skype on in. I'd really rate all the IWC releases this year. Only downside is the thickness of the chronos. There you go. What do you think about SBGY 002? Okay, let's check it. Y002. And then I'm gonna have to wrap this up pretty soon. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now this is stunning. Is that the one? SBGY, that's a 003. I wonder what the difference is between 002. But that's interesting. That's got Grand Seiko at the top. Like it's a 2 series and it's a 0 series. I don't know. I mean, if that's the watch you're talking about, that's pretty stunning. Yeah. Those are the new ones. Interesting. I wonder why that doesn't have a 2 as that digit there. I'm confused. But yeah, that's stunning. Stunning. Correct. The Blancpain 50 fathoms came before the Samaritan. Yeah, absolutely it did. I think there were others too. You know, I think there was a race right then. I think there were a few. Are we ever going to see a Grand Seiko diver 40 mils? That's a good question. I think the closest you've got is this puppy right here. I think the closest you got, and it's a GMT. It's not really a diver. But yeah, that's a good question. It'd be cool if they would do it. I don't know if they're going to do it. A lot of us have asked for smaller divers. I don't know if they're going to do it or not, though. I got a 50 fathom video in the works. I love them, especially the military piece. There you go. Can't wait to see it. I got to subscribe. I got to make sure I subscribe to ID Guy's channel. I think I probably do, but I got to make sure that I do. And remember, my email is my name, CraigShipp@gmail.com. CraigShipp@gmail.com in case you want to send me an email. Yes, that's the one. Oh yeah, that watch is stunning, and Steve has one coming in. Yeah, Steve has one coming in. That is absolutely stunning. Dive watches keep getting fatter because of some odd reason. They think people need something beyond 300 millimeters depth. I don't get it. I really don't get the thick watch syndrome. And there's a lot of watches that are getting thick for no apparent reason whatsoever. I mean, just because they can, I guess. I mean, I don't want a big, thick thing sticking out on my wrist. I've never wanted that. I don't get it, but I'm an old-fashioned guy, I guess. That's the deal there. Even the regular Seiko divers are big in general. Yeah, they're all too thick, if you ask me. This one is 14 mils thick, and that's my limit. I would not want anything more than 14 mils. Now, fortunately, because of the way the lugs are shaped and kind of curve around the wrist and it's cupped on the back, it doesn't look as thick as 14 mils. It looks more like almost like a Submariner, the way it sits on the wrist. So it really does look good on the wrist. But I would just as soon it be 12. I'd be happy if it was 12 mils thick instead of 14. I'd be tickled pink. And that's why I am looking at this watch, because it is 12 mils thick. So yeah, these watches need to go on a diet. A lot of them need to go on a diet, if you ask me. Let's see. I had no idea. I thought IWC was purely German. Okay. Craig, is this the one you were talking about? Let's see. Let me take a look. Yeah, I think that's the blue dial. The photo's not very good. But yeah, I think that's the one with the blue dial. It comes with the blue dial, it comes with a black dial, And then there's the limited edition one that has the star on it that is a little bit more accurate, 5 seconds a year versus 10 seconds a year. I mean, big deal, right? I mean, but yeah, that's basically the watch, and it's got lume on the hands. That thing is stunning. Yeah, that'd be the watch. So you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that puppy. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Let's see. I think of a big, overly fat watch analogous to a jerk driving a raised-up 4x4. I know. I don't get it. I don't get it. In the world are around 1,000 that would need helium escape valves, and I assume nobody uses a luxury watch on the... Yeah, exactly. My Seiko diver is 13.5 millimeters thick, and it's a quartz. Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's why I like the fact that the one on the screen right now is 12 mils thick. That's one of the things I really like about that one. Plus, you got the fit and finish and quality and the beautiful dial of a GS. I mean, you got something really cool going on there. Let's see. I'm going to wrap this up. Let me just see. Mini Turtle is the only current Seiko diver I can think of in a reasonable size. Okay. Sweet potato time. I don't have any. I got to get sweet potatoes tomorrow. I got to go down to Costco, and I'm out of a lot of things. I might walk over to the market and get a roast beef sub at the Hoffman's Market. I might do that. I think it's time that luxury dive watches go on a diet. Most people who buy them aren't using them in extreme depths. You might as well make them more wearable with a suit. I hear you, Brian. I hear you. The sub is only about 12 mils thick, though, right? Isn't it 12 mils or a little more? So a sub can still get the job done. It'd be nicer if it was 11. I'm in total agreement on the weight loss program for most watches. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this puppy up. I think we've solved a lot of the world's problems today. Hit subscribe, and hit the little bell thing so you'll get a notification next time. Okay, that's how we do that. Stay tuned for more.